Hey all, thanks for joining us again today for another webinar. Very exciting, some of the products that we'll be showing here. Hopefully you attended our past webinars and look forward to the future ones. We're all doing well during this pandemic. The folks at Worldox, we've all worked remote obviously and helped most of our clients there get remote, and everybody seems to be healthy, which is good. I hope you all continue to be safe. So in the absence of trade shows and everything else, we've started to rethink of how we can educate the market. And I kind of truly don't believe that this is the time to sell. Now, we all want to sell, but I think this is a good time to reach out to the market, reintroduce yourself to the market, even existing customers, and share technology that can be helpful for when that time's right. And we have a great client base, and we have some fantastic partners. So today we have Greg and Nancy with SAI Hubshare, and they have a fantastic product they'll be showing you today. Most don't know Greg, but you probably know. But I go way back with your colleagues to the Extranet days. The copy track versus Extranet little fun stuff during the 80s and the 90s.
That's right.
So funny how we morph into different companies and different things, but we're all still around here. We're all still supporting and loving the legal market. So with that, I just wanted to say hi to all, and again, thank you guys for being here, and I'll let Hella take it from here.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Ray. I'm Hella Schwartz-Grossman. I'm the marketing manager at Worldox, and I'm pleased to welcome you to today's webinar, which is part of our new legal technology webinar series, and we have these on Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Before we get started with today's webinar, a few housekeeping items. The webinar will be recorded and the link will be emailed to you afterwards. Everyone is muted right now, but if you have any questions, go ahead and type them into the GoToWebinar questions pane, and we'll address them at the end of the webinar. As Ray mentioned, today we are joined by SAI for an overview of Hubshare, and our speakers today are Greg Nicholls and Nancy DeCourcy. Nancy has worked in the legal space for 14 years. Formerly with Legal Anywhere and HighQ, Nancy, now with SAI Systems Auditing, represents Hubshare to the North American marketplace. She has a great deal of knowledge when it comes to client portals and extranet intranet software. Greg Nicholls has also worked in the legal space for 14 years, all with SAI Systems Auditing. Greg has a deep understanding of the Hubshare software and how it works in conjunction with many different programs. From the early days of development, Greg has worked with Hubshare and enjoys working with his clients and partners. SAI Systems Auditing markets and supports integrated workflow solutions in 3 areas: cost recovery, digital workflows, file sharing and collaboration, and e-copy solutions, and they have been doing so since 1983. They help by consulting to improve workflow capabilities or to suggest improvements to processes while enhancing performance with key software and hardware offerings. Their experience has taught them how to help their clients get the most out of their business investments. Thank you in advance for the attention you'll be giving the webinar today. And Greg, Nancy, I'm handing it over to you.
Great. Well, thank you very much. So as Helen mentioned, we are with Systems Auditing, and we've got an agenda for you here that we'll start with. What we're going to be doing is generally talking about the different workflows and how you might have the need to, I guess, get information from multiple sources and have it provided to you in ways that would normally require multiple logins from multiple sites, and rather, instead of doing that, have it so that you can work effectively in one place. And we're going to be utilizing the Hubshare program to show that to you, but it's really just more to share the idea of what technology can do today and what's available to you, because there's a lot of need out there to solve the problem of working effectively while we're working from home. We have enough distractions as it is, and making it so that we're getting all of the information that we need in a timely fashion, allowing us to stay more focused and at the end of the day, more profitable. So please type in your questions, and we'll be happy to answer them at the end of the presentation. And hopefully we'll keep it to about just over half an hour, 45 minutes. So I'll turn this now over to Nancy.
Thanks so much, Greg. All right, so as Greg was saying, we're going to touch base on how we can possibly help you with portals. So today, this day and age, we are used to, well, back in the day, right, we're familiar with going into the office, working with people and having our friends and colleagues there to help. And now we're trying to get used to a new way of working, which from home or remotely. The one benefit about working remotely is that you can have business on top and party below. No shame in that game, right? So the essential tools that you'll probably need to be effective in your environment would be a good, solid, quiet workspace. Not all of us are blessed with that though, so but hopefully we can help you maintain focus. A good cup of coffee or tea, as well as a nice solid door to close, and the proper technology with those secure connections. And it's good to have a clear mind that's going to help you focus and to minimize those distractions, to make a plan, and you got to stick to that plan. So basically, we want to move away from the distractions. We want to create an action to put down some traction, so that way we can
Squirrel.
what was I talking about again? Oh, right, distractions. So if you're anything like me, if I'm working on a project, I'm really central. I'm focused in on it, but then I'm thinking, okay, I need to talk to so and so about this, and I'm looking for their contact information. So the fastest way I'm thinking is I can go through my emails and pull up somebody's signature, and then I start answering emails, and then I start making calls, and then I just get more distracted. So what if there was a place that can help you with workflows to keep you focused, centered, and it'll help ease your work processes, as well as e-signatures, which is very important this day and age, since clients aren't able to come out to you to sign those contracts. And it was a place where you can access it anytime, anywhere. Is there something that we could use like that? Well, the answer is yes, a client portal. And Greg's going to show you a brief demonstration on how these 5 key elements can help you in your work environment to maintain that focus and to stay on task. And so he's going to be giving you a brief demonstration. And with that, Greg, I'm going to pass it back.
Great, thank you. If you can just make me the presenter.
Done. Oh, now done. Sorry.
There we go.
Just kidding.
All right, so I trust you can see my screen. Okay, great. So let's talk about client portals. First, there's a way that you can securely communicate all of your document sharing, manage your projects, access information from multiple spaces, and that's ultimately what a client portal is. And what they're designed to be is secure web accessible pages that can be fully customized to the look and feel not only of your own firm, but can be customized to show the level of demonstration that you care about your clients. And we're happy to show you these examples in the Hubshare system. So to start with that, I'm going to give you a brief overview of a couple of client portal examples, and I will first log into our secure server, which is basically set up in one of 5 data centers around the world. We've got data centers in Canada, the United States, and so on. So these are things that you'd want to look for, is make sure that your data is going to reside in the right place. Now, some of the attributes of a client portal are for file sharing are for intranet, extranet, and then using some of that technology to customize a client portal. Now, in this example, we have the ability to set up folders, and we can share the content of those folders with select people, and we have the ability to tightly secure that right down to the document level and change the permissions right at the document level. We also have the ability to have intranet capabilities, so we were only sharing files with internal people, and we can control it so that those documents cannot be shared with the outside world. So those are a couple of simple extranet file sharing and intranet file sharing abilities in Hubshare. But where the real power comes into play is with these client portals. So I'm going to show you 2 client portals here. One is a very simple example, and how they're comprised is of a dashboard and modules. And on the dashboard, we have these widgets, and they're the white boxes. And this is what will serve to be the window into the world of things that are going on, and links to other programs. And you'll see more of that in a minute. And then on the left side here, we have some modules, and the modules allow us to have access to a number of things, including files and documents, but also contact information, communications, project management, and a built-in calendar that links up with that, as well as a very advanced search capability of all of the activity that's happened in here. And that's one of the other important components of a client portal, is the ability to have all of your information in one place. If you think about the end of dealing with the matter and you're closing a matter, you have to go and gather information from multiple sources and compile that all together into a closed record. And this really makes quick work of doing that if you are disciplined to keep all of your communications and everything inside of a portal. So this is a simple example. Let's take a look at one that's a little bit more complex. You'll see a different background on the dashboard. You'll see additional modules on the dashboard. You also see representation of some activity in some of these modules. So what we're able to do here is set these up to the look and feel of the client or the special need of a specific matter that you might be working on, and have all of that together. And inside of these modules, you have the ability to show and access your content. They can be of various file types, and you even have the ability to view that information by just simply clicking on it. The view gets expanded on by being able to actually annotate and mark up content. So if you're into that sort of file sharing side of things where you want to collaborate, but you don't want to get into actually starting to move documents around, but rather just communicate on a specific document in an annotative way, then you can do that with Hubshare. There's a number of different annotation tools and stamps and other things that you can do that make quick work of that file sharing. Now, it also has the integration to programs like Worldox that allows for the pushing of documents from Worldox into Hubshare, and I will be showing you that when we build one of these hubs and do all that integration demonstration, if you will. Now, other components of this, as Nancy had mentioned about being able to contact people, you're able to check out user information, gather emails and phone numbers and all the things that you would expect to see from a contact list without having to go back to, say, email to garner that information, or to another contact list. Other things that you can do here is reduce the amount of email communication by creating subjects that you want to communicate on as a group. And this also ensures that people are going to all be included in a conversation, and you'd be able to have the thread of conversation happening all right within one of your hubs. The other aspect of this is that Hubshare has built into it a project management tool that allows you to set up simple tasks and assign those tasks to the appropriate people, that they can then in turn update yourself, but also the group that has access into a portal. And the design of this is to make it so that there's less back and forth communication asking about where people are at with things, which tends to be a pretty big interrupter. And that ties into a calendar and so on. Now, the advanced search style of things here, we can search everything inside of this hub, all the communications and all the various aspects of things. We can get right into the document content, comments, and all the various modules that are in here, providing you with results to everything. So it's got a very powerful tool built for search right into it. Now, when people come into these portals as well, you want to make sure that they're able to quickly find their way around. So having things like simple tutorials built into them is a powerful thing, so that when they meet this for the first time, they're going to be given a little brief tour of where everything is and what they do, so that they're not having to get lost in that shuffle. So then, how does all of this work together with programs like Worldox and the like? Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up Worldox here, and I'm going to create a portal for this matter. And I'm going to do it so that the portal is going to be customized. It's going to take information from the matter. It's going to expedite the whole process of creating these client portals. And as well, what it's going to do is bring in certain setups that I already have in place from a template that I've developed ahead of time. So you can develop multiple templates, which is again another powerful thing. So I'm going to type in the client information and the matter ID, and I'm going to load that. And this little Worldox client utility that's built to interface with Worldox will check against its database to see if you've already created a hub or if you need to launch an existing hub. In this case, I need to create a new hub, so I'm going to do just that. What it will do is it'll take me to a page where now I'm able to log in and create this hub from scratch or from a template. Now, when I choose a template, I can pick from a variety of templates that I will have developed, and it'll take me through a couple of simple steps to get this set up. But if you were to consider this with any other type of client portal structure, you'll see that this is pretty snappy and quick, and is able to produce a very robust client portal in a very short amount of time. So with a couple of clicks, as I say, I've got my matter created for my New York Lawn Services in this case, and it's already got a bunch of modules and other information already incorporated into it because I built it from a template. Now, what I'd be able to do is start to add in users, and I would simply go through and pick off the users that I wanted to add in. And I'm going to pick on Barry here as well as Nancy, and I'm going to add them into my Hubshare portal. Now, what I get to do is choose what modules they're going to have access to, and I can limit the modules to start with, and I can expand on this later on, depending on what their needs are and what information they have to have access to, but I'll give them access to everything. Now, this is where it starts to get to be really powerful. When I've got multiple users, I can go through and I can select individual rights for these people. And I'm able to predetermine some of the setups. But if you notice here, I have controls for the folder level, the file level, as well as any communication that I might have around those documents. And I can control that granularly right down to the document level as well. So if I like some of my predetermined settings, great. If not, I can also modify those as I go, and then I would be able to do a different set of rights for the next user, being Nancy, and I could give her just a different set of rights altogether, and that way I've got customized rights for each of those people. Now the dashboard is the same. I can, all those widgets, decide who's going to see all or maybe only a part of the information, and determine who's going to be able to access what widget, if you will, on the dashboard. So these portals are powerful in that they allow you to create different environments for different people, and it's important to note that you're able to see the information or share the information that's relevant at the time that it needs to be shared with the right people without having to create multiple places for that. Now, if you think about it, there's a lot of people that have to have information shared with them. And oftentimes you have to create multiple folders that you can, so that you're sharing, the right information. With a client portal or a Hubshare client portal in particular, you're able to put all the information into it that you need to ensure that it's all together, but then control the access to that as necessary. So once that is all done, all I need to do is activate the hub, and it's good and ready to go. So now let's talk about some of the content and getting some content into this. So I've got Worldox, and I've got my integration set up with this. What I can do now is I can go into Worldox and start to push or synchronize content into this hub. So I can pick the matter that I'm working with here, and I can select the file types or the files that I want to move into that, and I can either synchronize those, or in this case I'm just going to push these into Hubshare and have it so that you can see some instant results. Now what it's going to do though is just going to confirm where I want to push these. I'm going to select the hub that I've just built. So I'm going to go down to my New York Lawn Services hub, and I'm going to be able to choose or create the folder that I want to put those into. So let's create a folder. We'll call it from Worldox. And that content, once I've selected that folder, will now get pushed into there. So you can see that it's been preparing to upload the documents, and it'll notify me that we've had some success in uploading those documents, and then they will appear inside of Hubshare. So with that, when I refresh my screen here, I'll be able to see that there's some recent file activity on my dashboard, having brought in those documents and also creating that folder. I can then simply click on the folder and go in and access those documents. So that's one aspect of things, and you've seen that you can create a shared space, and you've got some documents in here. But now what? What if you wanted to work with or edit these documents and you were working remotely? Well, what we're able to do with Hubshare, and this is where all these integrations start to come into play, is I have a Word document here that I can see. Of course, when I click on it, I'd be able to see my document. What if I wanted to edit this document? Well, we have a built-in integration with Microsoft that will allow us to actually edit and work work with that document. So when I want to work with this document on desktop, I'm going to be able to open it up and actually work with this document. So what I'm doing here now is I'm going to make a quick obvious change. I'm just going to change the color of my highlight from yellow to green. And I'm just going to save this document. And I'm going to do this as a save outside of Worldox because I want to save it into back into Hubshare for the purposes of this collaboration. Now, what happens is it simply by doing that command uploads a new version into my Hubshare portal. But meanwhile, what it's also doing is communicating with things. So you can see that this is now gone from version 1 to version 2, and you can see all of the versions that I have of my document, the original one that I uploaded a moment ago, and then the one that I just modified. But also it's communicating things like checking that the file's been checked out and being worked on. I haven't closed the file yet, that's why it shows as being checked out. So when I close this, I'll just do that. I can then refresh and it'll show that the document's been checked in. So there's some good communication with all parties here. And this is, again, where having something that's integrated is of benefit to you because you're not going to be making mistakes with various versions and so on. These, of course, could then be brought back into Worldox and everything in Worldox would be kept up to date as well. But you got to think about this as more of a working with maybe third parties or outside people and having still a good record of all of your transactions as they happen. So that's just an example of some of the integrations with Worldox. Beyond this, what we can also do with Worldox is get into being able to synchronize, and we can configure a synchronization with the program. So what it wants to do, because I'm creating a sync, is verify who I am, and I'll just do that here. All right. Of course, I pick a long password. And then it gives me the choice of for this matter, client and matter, what folder do I want to sync it into, and do I want to do a one-way sync? So I'd be able to just simply pick which folder it is that I want to go into, and I'd be able to synchronize any documents of a particular file type into a folder. So I won't expand much more than that, but that gives you, I think, an idea as to what we're able to do there. All right, now coming back to the dashboard, I'm going to talk about some other integrations and ways that information can be shared with you, and how this all works. So for example, we've got the project management component telling us that we have to send contracts via Docusign. So Docusign is another very popular program these days, and the process that you would normally have to go through with documents e-signatures is downloading the program somewhere, adding in client information and so on. But rather than do all of that, what I'm going to do is show you the process as to how it works with Docusign here. So with Hubshare, we have an integration to Docusign. So you saw me put documents into Hubshare already. Those documents we can then push out for an electronic signature. And we can benefit from having the user information that is in Hubshare as basically a pre-completed set of data that can get moved into Docusign. So you don't have to manually add in the contact information and so on. The document will get pushed in there from Hubshare as well, and it will be modified as you would do with placing your signature points and so on. Now, the communication is happening with Hubshare in real time, so it will let Hubshare know that you now have a document, or this one in particular is waiting for a signature. Now, meanwhile, on the client side of things, we're going to now look at the client's email. They're going to receive an email and they're going to review the document as they normally would doing the Docusign process. So it's a validated process that all happens in Docusign. Now, once the client has signed the document, the communication between Docusign and Hubshare will advise that the document has been signed. So from notifications and everything else, you'll get an email if you're not in this space to see that it has been signed, but you can see that it says it's been signed. And the other thing is the signed contract will also land back in the Hubshare space that it came from in the first place. So now we have the signed contract inside of Hubshare as well, completing the loop of the whole thing. However, again, you didn't have to do a lot of the standard steps that you would need to with Docusign. So it really adds a lot of efficiency to that process. So you also saw that I was able to put a video into the dashboard and play that for you. So we've have that type of integration as well. Now, that is all very important stuff. We were able to bring in a document from Worldox. We were able to edit it. We were able to push a document from Hubshare through to Docusign. And we really didn't have to do too much moving around. It was all done in quite an automated way. And back at the client portal, it's keeping everything up to date. You, your clients, whomever the stakeholders are being kept up to date. Now, what if a client asks you, hey, I want you to do some more work for us. You need to ensure that you're going to have the budget, or that the bills are being paid by the client, or that they have a proper retainer in place for that. Well, an integration to the practice management software of your choice, be it, an example could be Adorant or Elite 3E, you'd be able to have an instant report being played out here in real time and refreshed regularly, showing if you have a available budget left. So you have, a certain amount available and an amount that's been allocated already. So you'd be able to quickly determine if, say, there was budget. Or maybe a client had asked you a question about what their billings were like over the last few months. Well, you could have a report coming into Hubshare to demonstrate that. You'd be able to tell how many hours, previously a client had worked without having to leave the portal in order to do that. You could also display this type of information to your client if you choose to do so. It's that easy as when we set up the clients, we can turn on or off access to these widgets and share it as you see fit. But it doesn't stop there. A lot of firms don't do a good job of keeping clients up to date with what's going on. Well, you could embed some of your marketing information or tweets or updates from, say, LinkedIn or other sources to help promote or cross-promote other activities. And this is where having a marketing integration to your client portal is very powerful. You could introduce new services that you could offer to your client. Other things that you can do is you can actually embed and work with other web pages. So if you had a time and billing or Microsoft Office 365 or other programs, you'd be able to have those running inside of one of these widgets in real time. So I could actually steer my way through a website and be able to navigate activity. In this case, this is just sample data from Click, which is a program that's allowing me to view this information. But basically, it's a fully interactive page. We've done ones with Smart Sheets and other programs as well. So there's quite a powerful tool just in this dashboard and being able to access information from all these multiple sources. And this is the thing is having access to that document management practice and project management software aids in that whole collaboration feat without the distractions of having to go in and log into these multiple sources to get information. And all of that aids in bringing these workflows together in one place. So with that, I think, Nancy, I'll turn it back to
Yeah, I
you,
was just
unless
going
I
to.
might be forgetting something. Am I forgetting anything?
Nope, I think you're good. I was actually going to say, if you can make me the presenter really quick. Um,
Okay.
that was nice to see that you didn't even have to leave the site to actually do any of that process. So it limited your remembering passwords and things of that nature. So and logging into other screens, because I know I get very distracted.
Squirrel.
And yep, exactly. So, but I did want you to touch base on how we do integrate with that, or not integrate, but how we do help maintain that focus within one client portal, and one
Yeah,
software.
just yeah, as a recap then, the document management side of things with Worldox, being able to have secure control of your documents in Worldox, to be able to um, maintain the security and the ethical walls and the things that you would expect to have there, where if you're sharing information through, especially with the internal clients, being able to um, ensure that they're only seeing data that they're supposed to. This is a real important component, and the integration with Worldox is fantastic, and they've done a great job of making their program available to us so that we can communicate properly with them. Practice management, as I mentioned, like Adirant and Elite 3E, having the ability to pull billing information through and make it accessible in real time is a huge thing to make sure that you're not only getting yourself into trouble, staying away from getting into trouble of promising things maybe that you shouldn't have otherwise promised because the money wasn't there, as an example. You could have access to all kinds of other information from your practice management software. The project management component, we didn't delve into it too deeply, but having a project management component inside of a portal is incredibly powerful, because there's so much time taken up finding out what the status is of various tasks with all the various stakeholders. You're going to save all of that time. Your clients don't need to necessarily call you to say, hey, how are things going? This is going to be a reduced amount of communication back and forth, manually, where you can automate that type of communication. And then being able to collaborate and edit documents and work in an environment that's secure is very, very powerful. And that's what client portals are designed to do. They're designed to help you collaborate and work effectively and securely in a space that the client can feel comfortable working in and access all the information that they're looking for. And all that happens from the integration to all of these types of programs and others that you can have in there as well. So
I think
I hope
that's
that
great, actually.
covers everything for you guys.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, no pun intended, you can get everything in with one sign-on and all the security parameters that you need. So, so very good. Thank you so much, Greg. And with that, I guess we'll take some Q&A time.
Well, hi, this is Rebecca Satin of Worldox, and there have been a couple of questions that have popped up. First of all, somebody has asked whether this can be used as an intranet as well as an extranet.
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. Yes, absolutely. There is intranet. Well, really the definition between intranet and extranet is who has access to the information, and you could use the folder structure at the front there, where we have the ability to create folders and not have the ability to share any of the content from those folders externally. Or you could just limit the access of a client portal to internal users only and use that for intranet purposes. So there's a few ways to skin that cat for sure.
Now, all of those other things that you added in, like the social media and other components that you added into that portal screen, do you have the same ability to control who gets to see those components?
Yes. So the widgets on the dashboard, you can determine who's going to see what widget, and you can turn that off per user. For the documents, you can control right at the document level various degrees of access, or you can even, not even enable access for certain documents, but put all of your files into the folder and share just a folder to everybody, but you can totally control what's inside of that folder. Does that answer the question, you think?
Yeah, yeah. And I know you mentioned a lot of things with which you integrate, but is there anything else besides what you've mentioned? Maybe different time and billing products or any other products that are legal specific?
Well, from a general standpoint, on the dashboard into like those, like I showed a bar and line graph, you could pull SQL data, for example, from pretty much any program and have it report graphically into one of our pre-set widgets for the dashboard. Any website that has the ability to be iframed and be able to work in it, like Office 365 works quite well inside of an iframed space on the dashboard there. There's really quite a number of them. Specifically on some of the other ones, there's other document management software programs, of course, but yeah, I'd say that it's quite a vast number of programs that we can work with. We would have to individually look at them. Just some of them we will have already worked with, and others we might not have. But if they meet the general parameters, we should be able to.
All right. I'm actually having a vision right now of so our Worldox web product came out. It's been almost a year now, but it has the capability of being presented within an iframe. So I think we may need to talk some more about that.
For sure.
Because
I
that
didn't
could
even think of that.
I mean,
That's
you wouldn't
actually an
necessarily
awesome
want to.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily want your client to see every single Worldox document for that matter, but at least for your firm people, the people within the firm could see the Worldox content along with all the rest, and that might be a nice
That's
add.
Right. Yeah, and that would also be controlled by single sign-on, and only the documents that you would have or be privy to would be displayed in that iframe as well. So, yeah, that could work probably quite well.
All right. I think we'll have to have some more conversations about that later. For any tasks or anything like that within the portal, can you get notifications about those?
Yes, actually, the notification component is quite robust. There's probably about 70 different activities that you can receive notifications on, and you can turn them on or off. Each user has the ability to set up their schedule if they want it to be notified weekly, daily, or instantly on activity, and you can have that for activity that you create or others create. So yeah, there's quite a bit, and all of the email notifications come with direct links to the information right inside of the portal.
That's great. That makes it much easier to get back to the exact thing that you were just notified about.
Precisely.
How exactly is this priced, and is it an on-prem situation or is this a cloud product or both?
So it is available for both. The cloud option is through Microsoft Azure, so arguably one of the most secure data centers setups in the world, and all the data is resident into the country that is pertinent to you. I guess it would be United States, Canada. We have UK, France, and Australia as well. So there are a number of choices there that all meet good international standards. And then for on-premise, yes, we can install this on-premise. You can have a fully operating setup there. You would just need to, set up your own backups, of course, all those sorts of things and redundancies. So, yeah. And then from a pricing standpoint, the pricing. What we charge for is the internal users only. We do not charge for external users or anyone outside of your firm that you'd be sharing with. We do not charge for the number of hubs, and the only supplementary charges to the internal user cost is the charge for space. If you need to have a larger or lesser amount of space, we'll charge you accordingly based on what that is, and the integration to the document management software, which is negligible cost at best, but it's just there as well as the only other cost. But everything that I showed you today comes with Hubshare, with the add-on cost of the integration to Worldox. All of the integrations to things like Docusign, having two-factor authentication, single sign-on, Active Directory integration, access to the API, all of those things are all included with the internal user cost annual subscription.
And so is it a subscription whether it's on-prem or cloud?
Correct. Yeah, and so the price for on cloud in the cloud and on-prem is slightly different based on the the resource differences being used, but that's really it. The pricing model is the exact same. We do have an enterprise option for on-prem as well that can be. The difference being is that it's unlimited space because it's your own space. So that's really, I'd say, the big difference between the two.
Yes, so those people who have just incredible amounts of data to share might want to opt for the on-prem model. So that way they're paying for the storage themselves on their own system instead
Correct.
of paying you for the storage.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm especially impressed with the the Docusign thing was the part that blew me away, just because that's been the big frustration working remotely is getting people to sign things and having to work with solutions like that. So I'm happy to see that integration. I don't think I had seen that the last time I saw a demo.
We might not have had it the last time. Yeah, it was a big deal to make sure that all of the user data that you were sharing the documents to transferred over, because there's all that sort of flipping screens back and forth, and then there's the spelling error opportunities and so on with getting that data over. But then secondarily, also being able to communicate back with success of a signed document and have it appear back in the software instantaneously is just a fantastic accomplishment between Hubshare and Docusign.
Yes. And I'm looking at the to see if there's any more questions, and we've actually got a statement that I want to share from somebody that basically says, "This solution rocks."
Oh, excellent. Well, thank you for that.
That's awesome. Well, we think you rock, whoever you
That's
are.
right.
You rock.
Well, and I want to give a shout out to Squiggy, the distractor, our mascot for the presentation today, just as a little bit of fun, because sometimes these can be a little bit I don't know,
Training.
boring, and so hopefully we made it to be a little bit more fun.
Yeah, and he's not taking any autographs at this moment. He's very, very distracting.
He's a little skittish. Yeah.
So please refrain from asking. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate you bringing him on board and sharing his picture with us.
He doesn't get a paycheck, but you know, we don't tell him that. He gets paid in nuts.
He works for peanuts. Yeah.
That's right.
He works for peanuts. Okay, we'll send you a bag now so you can pass them on. Do you have anything else you would like to share with everyone, Greg and Nancy, or?
Well, we do have a regular webinar series that we've been doing with various topics, and that can be found on our website, which is www.sai.ca/webinars. We do have some pricing, well, I don't know if they're incentives. We're trying to help out people or firms that are struggling right now. They're struggling. They've got all this overhead, and they're struggling with cash flow and different things. And the president of our company felt compelled to help out, and has done an incredible program where users can take advantage of that and really help themselves out. So there's some great programs that we've got in place to take away some of the burden of cost, especially for the first, say, 6 months of time. So
yeah, and if you're interested, just our information's on the screen. Just feel free to just email me, and then I'll let Greg kind of know. Just kidding. But yeah, just shoot us out an email or give us a quick call, and we'd be happy to discuss it further with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that sounds great. So we want to thank you very much, Greg and Nancy, and for sharing all the information with us today. We are going to post a recording of the webinar, so anyone who was not able to attend today, they can still go back and take a look. Anyone who was here today, thank you. And then we do hope that you will join us again for one of the other presentations that are coming up in our webinar series. And thank you again to everyone who joined us.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye now.
Bye.